Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome back to Kerry's Kitchen. And today we're going to be making portobello mushrooms, sweet and spicy paneer with vegetables, and a pineapple cheesecake as our dessert. Okay, we're going to start off with portobello mushrooms. So we've got 3 nice sized mushrooms. They're quite big. We're going to leave the stem in the middle. Just wash the outside, try not to get the inside wet. We're going to pop these into a saucepan, slightly warm them up around and underneath. Okay, I've got my grill on. So get your pan ready. You want your pan nice and warm, so you can feel it's getting quite hot. So obviously I'm using the main burner in the middle of the cooker. It lets off quite a lot of heat, so we're going to go with that. Then we put our mushrooms in. Did you hear that little sizzle? It shows you how hot the pan is. It gets hot quite quick. Pop your mushrooms in there. And what we're going to do, we're going to turn the cooker down slightly, and we're going to go and prep our sun-dried tomatoes, our onion and our halloumi. Okay, I've got my grill on as well, so that's ready for the mushrooms to be grilled. Just to try and keep everything sort of ready as you need to. So everything's ready to use. You are not fluffing around, putting the cooker on and getting things to heat up. Everything's ready to use. What we're going to do now is our mushrooms are toasting. We're going to chop our onions, sun-dried tomatoes, and we're going to grate our halloumi. So we're going to get an onion. I think 1 onion would be enough for 3 portobellos. Okay, so we peel our onion and we chop. Keep them chunky, because all this is going to go slightly soft and we haven't got to worry too much about. Yep, so we've done our onion. Going to get our sun-dried tomatoes. Another one of my favorite things. Absolutely love sun-dried tomatoes. They're very tasty. So we just sort of give them a bit of a rough chop, if you like. Just give them a bit of a rough. Okay. I'm going for about 5 or 6 tomatoes here. You can use less, you can use more. You just got to remember, it's got to fill the mushrooms in equal quantities of how many mushrooms you have. So we just roughly chop those up. Now for the final ingredient, we've got a halloumi cheese. You can get this from most supermarkets. This one that I've got is actually halloumi with chili, just to give it a bit of flavour, just to give it a bit of sharpness. And you know how I like my spice. So basically I'm going to cut half. Right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grate the halloumi. And my trusted gadget, my cheese grater, which I use for carrots, potatoes, you name it. It's very handy. So your halloumi, we're just going to grate away. You know, if you leave a few chunks, don't worry about it. We like it chunky. If you can grate it away, that's even better. It's quite a hard cheese. It won't crumble away. It's quite a rubbery cheese as well. Don't worry about all that, because once it melts away, it's got such a lovely taste. It's like a spicy cheese. Quite a sharp tasting cheese compared to our normal English cheddar cheeses. I do quite like the flavours on this one. You can now get it with the chilies, you can get it with the herbs, or you can have halloumi on its own, whatever you prefer. Right, ingredients are ready. Only 3 ingredients required for this. We've got onions, sun-dried tomatoes, roughly chopped, and we've got a halloumi cheese grated. So we're going to carry on over to the pan and see how our mushrooms are getting on. Okay, mushrooms look ready. And they feel quite soft. Okay, so what we do is we just take them out, put them onto our side plate. I always find mushrooms have got this aroma. They sort of They don't taste of anything, but they've got like this smell that only that particular vegetable has. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil into the same pan that we've taken our mushrooms out of, and we get that hot. What we're going to do in here is we're going to just quickly throw in the onions and the sun-dried tomatoes just to give them a little bit of softness, just to give them a little bit of heat. Give it a good little mix. Try and separate your onions. Okay, so we're frying the onions only slightly with the sun-dried tomatoes. Now, if you use sun-dried tomatoes, you'll know that they come in an oil base anyway in the jar. So you don't really need to add anything to, and there's such a lovely aroma coming off that. Okay, so we just give them a good turn on the heat. You can, if you want to, add some seasoning. I'm going to keep it as it is because my cheese has got plenty of flavours. I don't need to add any more, but you know, if you wanted to put a bit of salt, you wanted to put a bit of pepper, that's perfectly fine. Right, I'm going to say that's fine. That's quite ready. That's ready to use now. So off on that, and if you look, you can see the kind of soft textures of the onion with the tomatoes. Okay, now we're going to start filling up our mushrooms. Right, so we're filling up our mushrooms, and we've got to really pack them as much as you can. We don't want to break the mushrooms, we want to keep the mushroom complete, but we want to fill them in. So we use up all the mixture. So you can't always guess what quantities you're going to need. But we'll just put it in. If you get a few sort of fall in here and there, don't worry too much. Right. Okay, so we've packed our portobellos with the onions and the sun-dried tomatoes, and the aroma is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to top up the mushrooms with our halloumi cheese that's grated. Our halloumi, don't forget, has chili in, so it's got that slight bite to it, and we're going to go ahead and grill these. Okay, so we're going to get our halloumi cheese, halloumi and chili, and we're going to just place that on top of our portobello mushrooms. What I do is I grill them, and then I take them out halfway, and then I top them up with some more cheese because I love cheese. Okay, as you can see, our mushrooms are ready now. Halloumi's topped up, and we're going to go ahead and put them in the grill. What I tend to do is I use a bit of foil to line when I'm using my oven. I'm going to drizzle a bit of oil on. That just stops anything sticking to the foil. So we're going to put our mushrooms on very carefully. And I like to keep it all nice and neat, so it's all nice and tidy. And anything that's dropped off, just top back up. Okay, there's your portobellos into the grill, and we're going to leave them there just for a couple of minutes, and we're going to keep an eye on them. Okay, and we are ready. Look at those, absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we take them off the foil, and as I said, my little thing that I did with the oil, it just stops anything sticking to the foil. So sometimes, you know, when you heat a pizza or you put something in the oven and you don't do that, the foil tends to be stuck to the bottom of the base as you come away. But here, everything's all nice and clean, and there's your portobello mushrooms. Look at those, they smell absolutely delicious and they're gorgeous. One per person, there's your starter, easy in minutes. Now that we've got our starters out of the way, we're going to do our main. Our main is now spicy paneer with stir-fried vegetables served with brown Mediterranean rice. For starters, we're going to chop our onion. Right, so we've got our chopped onion. Paneer, I'm going to tell you, this paneer is homemade by my husband, who's an expert at making paneer. I like my paneer shallow fried. What I'm going to take some paneer just to show you what kind of size pieces we're going to be using for this dish. So we just get a little chunk, cut it into 2 pieces, and we go around about that size. And you get a fair bit out of the chunk. So we're just looking at little small chunky pieces like this. That's our little pieces of paneer that we're going to use. That is shallow fried on quite a high temperature. I just put it into the oil just to brown off the edges, and I pull it straight back out. I don't leave it in there to crisp or harden or anything like that, because I still like the soft texture when you bite into the chunks. Okay, so we've chopped our paneer. We're going to shallow fry that, and we've got some already prepared. So it's the same quantity what I've done before, fried it ready. Like I said, we just shallow fry it, give it a bit of gold, pop it back in here. We don't want to leave it in the oil for too long because we don't want the hard rubbery texture. Now we're going to go ahead and add 2 mercha to give it a bit of spice. So just 2 fresh green chilies, and we just cut them lengthways. So our mercha is ready, and our onion. What we're going to do, we're going to throw everything into the pan and fry it. So here, okay, we've got a bowl of stir-fry vegetables. We've got red peppers, we've got red cabbage, we've got lettuce, we've got carrots, we've got sweet corn, butternut squash, onions, a bit of radish in there somewhere. Now we're going to fry everything on a hot heat, and we're going to go over to our cooker. Right, let's start frying our vegetables now. So we've got our pan on a hot heat. Going to use some butter. Melt that in. Now we're going to add our onion. And our chili. Right, so we slightly fried our onion and our mercha together. Mercha smell really nice. Nice powerful smell there. And now we add the paneer. Okay, really give this a good mix. So the onions and the chili is all mixed in with the paneer. Okay, and it should look like this. The aroma of this is amazing, absolutely. You should be here now. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my stir-fried vegetables. And mix. Make sure the heat is consistent, and we really give it a good mix. The colours, the mixtures, it looks beautiful. I'm going to now add a little bit of salt because the chili is quite sharp and we don't want the whole dish to just taste of chili. So we're going to just give it a little sprinkle of salt. We don't want to leave this on here for too long because we still want the crunch of the vegetables when we enjoy this dish. Your paneer is already done, so when you're adding the vegetables, you're just really heating everything up together and giving it a good mix so all the flavours distribute evenly. And this is what it should be looking like. We're going to give this another minute and I will say that is ready. That is so ready. It's beautiful. Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to serve this now. You've got all the different flavours coming away from all those vegetables. Right, I'm going to serve the spicy paneer with some brown rice, which I've put a red pepper in, and some seasoning. Brown rice, healthy for you, and it should just be nicely cooked so it separates each grain. And we serve that with our spicy paneer. Again, you can have it with naan, you can have it with roti, but I prefer to have mine with rice. Okay, so we're going to try and see what the dish is like. So, a bit of paneer, a bit of rice, grab a few vegetables on there, and off we go. Wow, that is delicious. Takes a little bit longer than some of my other recipes, but this is well worth trying out. All the different flavours, you've got the chilli, the seasoning, the rice, the vegetables. You've got to try this one out. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, now that we've done our mains, we're going to go on to our dessert, which is a pineapple cheesecake. What we're going to need is digestive biscuits for our base. We've got about 150 grams of plain digestive biscuits, and we've got some butter, unsalted. Okay, now we're going to take our digestives and put them into our blender. So we crumble our biscuits. Just break them into chunks. Just drop them in as they are. This is going to be 1 second to grind these down fine. So lid on, and we're going to give it a whirl. You will need to tap it every so often to loosen the biscuits that are stuck to the top. That is now ready, and you should have biscuit crumbs. There you go, lovely golden crumbs. We're going to toast these now in a bit of butter in a saucepan. Right, okay, so put on our cooker again. Heat the pan up. Into the pan we're going to put butter. Now the biscuits go in with the butter, so butter goes in. Be a bit generous with the butter because it needs to coat the biscuits and give it that golden buttery taste. Yep, melt your butter. Make sure it's completely melted. You need a really nice hot heat for this. There you go. Now what we do, obviously being safe and careful as you're going along. Right, okay, now we're going to put our biscuit crumbs into the butter. And you just let it go and it will come loosely away and it will fall straight into the pan, effortless. Okay, now you've got your butter and your biscuit crumbs and you mix. You mix quite quickly so the butter is coating the biscuit crumbs almost immediately. The aroma is absolutely amazing. It's almost like a toasted toffee, though we haven't used toffee. The digestive let off a lovely aroma with the combination of the butter. So you will look and see that it's starting to look a little bit slightly darker golden than it was initially when we started putting the biscuits in. Right, I'm happy with that. That's nicely done, nicely mixed. What we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and put that down as our base, and we're going to go and get our rest of our ingredients ready. This smells absolutely delicious. We're ready now to add that into our tin, because this is our cheesecake base. Okay, this is the tin you're going to need for your cheesecake, a removable base, because when we take our cheesecake out, we don't want it to collapse. That goes at the bottom. There you go. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start adding into the tin. Just pop it in. There's no sort of hard and fast rule. Spreading it as you're going along. And you just basically spoon it all in into the tin. It comes away quite easily. And there it is. Basically we pat it in all the way around into the tin, pressing it as you're going along because we want it to be a firm base. Pressing it down. It hasn't got to be completely even, but we're going to try and sort of even it out as much as we can. Making sure it's completely pressed all the way around. Right, I'm happy now for that to go into the fridge for a little while so it sets nicely. So it should look like this when you're finished. Patted dry, it's not moving anyway, it's all quite secure. We're going to put that away in the fridge for a little while and we're going to get the rest of our ingredients ready. And that goes in the fridge. Okay, now we're going to make our cream. This is the lovely favourite bit. Okay, so we've got here soft cheese. You can get this anywhere. I've gone for strength one because we don't really want this to be strong tasting because it's just a soft cheese to give us some cream, some thickness. That together with double cream, we're going to put into our mixer and mix together. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add our soft cheese and straight in. This is just a small container. I mean, you can use as much as or as little as you want, depending on how much cheesecake you're making and for how many people. So we just scoop it all out and in it goes. And into that we're going to pour our double cream. You can just let it go and that goes straight in. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of icing sugar and we're going to go just 2 dessert spoons. That should be more than enough. Okay. Right, I'm happy with that consistency. It's all mixed completely together and it's snow white. Absolutely beautiful. And the aroma again, it's lovely. So we're going to take this out. Right, what we're going to do now, we're going to put our fruit into the cream and give it a good mix. I'm going to, just for TV purposes, put the cream into the bowl because we can't quite see what we're doing in this bowl. So we just bring it all out of here into our glass bowl. Take it all away from the sides. And there's your cream. Try and get it all out. Obviously it's cream, it tastes lovely, you don't leave anything in there. We're going to put our pineapple into our mix. You can use a fresh pineapple, but I've actually got a tin pineapple, which is just as good. It's got nice chunks. Just pop them all in. I've actually got a whole can here. Up to you if you want to use less or you want to use more. And again, you can use 2 fruits. You haven't got to just use 1 fruit. And what we do, we just fold this in into the double cream. And we make sure we don't break any of the fruit. We keep the chunks whole. Fruit and cream is all ready. Now we're going to get our cheesecake base out and top this up. Cheesecake base is ready. It looks absolutely lovely. It's been in the fridge now for an hour. And what we're going to do now, we're just going to spoon this onto the top of the cheesecake base. I tend to sort of go around the middle because it's easy to spread to the sides from the middle. We're going to have a lovely cheesecake here, by the way. Just be careful when you're adding, because sometimes you might get the spoon caught onto the base. Don't be afraid to touch the edges with the cream, because don't forget it's going to go back in the fridge to set, and it's quite easily come away once it's ready. There you go. So now we have got a pineapple topping on the cheesecake. Look at that. I mean, I've made this several times and I love the preparation that goes into it. I love the fruit that I use in this. I keep it pineapple on its own for this one. I have done cheesecake with orange. I've done cheesecake with peaches. I've done cheesecake with apple. It's entirely up to you what you want to use as a fruit, but this pineapple one is kind of my favourite. And it's one of my husband's favourites as well. Right, so now what we do is we're going to pop this back in the fridge. You can leave it in the fridge for a couple of hours. You can leave it in the fridge overnight. It's entirely up to yourself. The longer you leave it in the fridge for, the better it will be. So we're going to go ahead and put this back in the fridge. Right, that's the end of Kerry's Kitchen for this evening. Do try my recipes out. If there's anything you want me to cook on the show, send your recipes in. Get in touch with the Seek channel. Check out our website. You'll find all the ingredients. You'll find all the methods to how to prepare what we've looked at today. Keep watching. See you next week.